Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my kitchen. Some really quick background on this video today. Last week was actually a wedding shower for a girl at work. I am on the party planning committee for my department, so I was responsible for bringing a couple of different kinds of pinwheels and also some spiced cupcakes. Well, as luck would have it, I came down with COVID the weekend before and I couldn't make it, but my place of work had already bought the ingredients and they were already at my house. So since I'm going into the office tomorrow, I decided I'll go ahead and whip up everything I was supposed to bring to the party and bring it for everybody tomorrow instead. So today we're going to be making two different kinds of pinwheels for an appetizer and some spiced cupcakes. So this first recipe I'm going to show you is called Easy Pinwheel, and I can already attest, yes, it is super easy. All I had to do was thaw out and chop some already chopped frozen spinach. I chopped up some sun-dried tomatoes in oil and I shredded up a ball of fresh mozzarella. If you can find these ingredients already processed, then that'll save you some time, but I mean, this took me probably 5 minutes total just to get this bowl ready. In addition to that, I need 4 flour tortillas. I only have 2 that are the right size, so I'm using 4 of the smaller size to make up for the 2 I'm missing. 8 ounces of cream cheese, half a teaspoon of dried basil, half a teaspoon of oregano, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then the measurements for these are, this is about, it should be about a half a cup of frozen defrosted spinach. It's probably a little bit less than that. It's probably about 1/3 of a cup, maybe even a 1/4 cup. So I might add some more of that, but really I think that's just for color, so I'll add more if I need to, but I'll go with that for right now. 3/4 cup, this is maybe about a cup of shredded mozzarella, and then this should be 1/3 cups of sun-dried tomatoes in oil. It's probably a little bit more than that, but I think that'll be the most flavorful part of this, so I think we're fine there. I might add some more spinach, but we'll see. So let me get my mixing bowl ready, and I'll go ahead and get started on combining these ingredients.
We're going to start by getting the base ready, which is this block of cream cheese. It's been sitting on my countertop overnight. A couple of hours would do it, but I like to let mine get really nice and soft. It makes it really a lot easier. You can see how easy that was. And then into the cream cheese, we're going to add all of our spices before we mix all of the rest of the ingredients.
Did go ahead and add just a little bit more spinach. Doesn't that look beautiful? I was thinking as I was mixing this up, this is actually a really great base for a cheese ball as well. So if you don't want to roll it in tortillas, you could also form this into a ball, chill it for a couple of hours, roll it in chives or more diced tomatoes and spinach or whatever you feel like adding it for the exterior of the cheese ball. And this is another great recipe for that. I've got another video with 3 different cheese ball recipes, so I'll make sure to link that in the description. But I'm ready to go ahead and spread this out. So since I am supposed to do this in 4 tortillas, I'm gonna divide it into quarters. I'm gonna get that as close as I can. Also, I should make a note, I did go ahead and taste test this and I added just a teeny bit more salt and more garlic powder, but otherwise I think it tastes delicious. So I'm gonna spread a 1/4 of the amount in each tortilla for the 2 big tortillas. And then for the 4 smaller tortillas, the other half of the mixture I will divide in half so that I don't have too much. I'm going to make sure this isn't a really thin layer, and I'm going to spread it as close to the outer edges as I can get it. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Now, one of the hints they give in the directions is to make sure you roll this as tightly as possible. So that's going to be my next challenge, especially at the beginning of this. So let's give this a try. Pretty easy. I'm going to do that seam side down so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'll put it on a plate too. These are gonna have to chill in the fridge for a couple of hours before I'm ready to cut them. That's not gonna work. I need something flat. Okay, much better. Time to spread the second tortilla. This might be a little bit easier with a knife, but it's not that big of a deal. Alright, I'm going to start this roll where I ripped the tortilla. Alright. Now I'm going to divide these in half again. They kind of got mushed together. Half one more time. Now I did see in the instructions that you should probably try to avoid using these smaller tortillas if you can help it. The pack of tortillas that I got was not enough to make both recipes, which is why I'm substituting with these smaller ones, but it is important to know that these will have fewer rolls, which is fine, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're really going for presentation and consistency over all of the pinwheels, then you will definitely want to try to go for the larger size if that is important to you. Alright, this is looking pretty good. It's getting to be about that time of the day where I need to start dinner, so after I finish these pinwheels, I'm gonna take a break. I might film dinner tonight too. I think we're gonna have chicken parmesan. Cute. I'm really excited for these to chill and for me to taste a bite. I'm gonna wait until they're chilled for a couple hours before I cut them because I want to make sure when I'm slicing that the filling doesn't all come out. Oh, I got out an extra tortilla. That's fine. Okay. Now that I have all of these rolled, I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap and put it in my fridge for at least 2 hours. These aren't going to be served until tomorrow, so I may just wait until tomorrow at the party to cut them. It's not a party, at our department meeting, to cut them, or I might cut them beforehand just so that we can have a taste. I am kind of curious to see how it'll taste with the tortilla, but until then, into the fridge, and we will go on to the next recipe. Okay, dinner has been eaten and cleaned up. I've had a chance to sit down for a few minutes. My camera is charged, and I am ready to start our next recipe, which is another vegetarian pinwheel. The girl whose shower we were hosting is a vegetarian, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have any meat included in any of these. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear my husband playing video games in the other room, so I might go back and do a voiceover for this portion, but we'll see whenever I go to edit. This recipe is also super easy. The only caveat to me saying that is that there is quite a bit more vegetable prep, so that's what I'm getting started with. I've got everything laid out. I think you can see everything. I've got bell peppers, broccoli, carrots, and some green onion back over here. And then we're gonna season it with salt, pepper, dill, and onion powder. The method for this one is a little bit different than the last one because in the last recipe, I just basically mixed everything together, but in this case, I'm gonna be mixing the cream cheese with the seasonings and then sprinkling the vegetables on top. So I'm gonna dice these as finely as I can get them and put them in a separate bowl to wait until I've got everything mixed together. But I want to make sure I've got even distribution of vegetables in the pinwheels, so that's why I'm doing this method here. We basically need a cup of everything that I've got laid out here. So I'm sitting here thinking about how this is going to work because If I do it the way that the recipe recommends, that means I'm going to have all 6 of my 8-inch flour tortillas laid out with spread on them before I can sprinkle the vegetables on top, and I'm a little bit skeptical that I'm going to have room to do that. So I may go ahead and just mix the veggies all in with the cream cheese, but I am still going to mix together the veggies so I make sure I have an even distribution of everything. So that's why I've got my separate orange bowl over here. I'm going to mix everything together in a red bowl later. I was hoping that I would use all these carrots, and it looks like I'm not going to need all 4 of them based on the fact that I need a cup of everything, but I'll tell you this funny story, and I will call it a bit of a debacle. So where I work so graciously offered to pay for the ingredients for the food that we were going to be using to host this bridal shower, since I'm on the party planning committee. And so they placed the order for Tom Thumb so that, you know, we could use the company credit card. Well, it just so happens that the Tom Thumb that we use didn't have any bulk carrots. So when I requested 3 carrots, which is what I thought I would need, I barely need 2. What actually got placed was not for bulk carrots, since that was not an option. They placed an order for 3 2-pound bags of carrots. So now I have so many carrots in my fridge. I don't feel like I can use them personally. I mean, I'm sure that wouldn't be a big deal, but I'd rather use them for something for work. So I'm gonna have to come up with quite a few other carrot ideas. I'm probably gonna make some carrot cake or something like that, and I honestly don't know how I'm gonna go through all those carrots, but I don't want them to be wasted either. That'll probably be good for the carrots. That's about 1 cup. I'll go ahead and do the broccoli next. I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did with the carrots and try and get this as small as I can. Luckily for my dogs, everything that's falling on the floor is safe for them to eat. Next, I will do green bell pepper. And honestly, I might be able to get a cup of bell pepper just out of one of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and dice them both. They're green and the red, but maybe a little bit too much. And if that's the case, I can use it. Alright, this is already getting pretty close to being a 1/2 cup, so I'm gonna start chopping the red one and see how far that gets me. I bet that'll be enough, and then I'll just put the rest in my fridge and I can use it for tacos or something like that. I don't feel quite as bad about using 1/2 of a bell pepper that should have been going to work as I do using 6 pounds of carrots. And the recipe doesn't specify to whether or not you should use red or green bell pepper, or what color you should use, so you should just use whatever is your preference. I thought visually it would look much better if I used both red and green, and I know stores usually have those colors. Sometimes they'll have yellow or orange. I've never seen purple bell peppers in the store. I know those exist, but I just felt like visually and also for the purpose of flavor, since they do have a little bit of a different flavor to them, a mix of red and green would be good. probably diced finely enough. Let's see how much this gets us. I bet that'll be enough. Yep, perfect. Just go ahead and throw these in here with the broccoli and carrots. And bell peppers are pretty juicy, so I'm gonna wipe my cutting board off before I do the green onions. Wow, I had already made a pretty huge mess, so I got that cleaned up. Last thing I need to chop are these green onions, and I have absolutely no idea how many onions I'm gonna need for a cup. They've also started to kind of wilt because I was supposed to make these about a week ago, so they've been sitting in my fridge for even longer than that, and it'll be okay. I think I've got enough here that I can use to get 1 cup. So let's start cutting and we'll see how far we get. I think I am going to need just a couple more. Let's see. That was about half of what I needed. Pretty close, but not quite 1 cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop up this last one and we'll call it good. Alright, time to clean up my space one more time. I've got my bowl of chopped veggies here. I'm going to give this a really good mix, and then I'll be right back with the rest of our ingredients and we can put this all together. It's time to get our base for this ready, so I'm going to start with a block of cream cheese. I've also already measured out half a cup of sour cream. And this recipe says to use a stand mixer. That would make it a lot easier, honestly. Even if you had a hand mixer, that would save you a lot of time. This isn't going to be too hard for me to mix because sour cream is soft and the cream cheese has been sitting at room temperature overnight. It's now 9:15 p.m. It's getting a little late. But all of this should be nice and soft, and then I just have to mix everything into it. So I'll go ahead and get this mashed together. And I need to check my recipe again to see how much of the spices I need. 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, a teaspoon dill, 1/8 of a teaspoon salt, and 1/6 of a teaspoon pepper. I don't know what measuring spoon has 1/6 of a teaspoon. I'm just gonna, and I do have 1/8 of a teaspoon, but I feel like I'm probably going to want it to be just a little bit saltier. I'll do 1 teaspoon dill and then 1/4 teaspoon each garlic powder, salt, and pepper. I am kind of working against my battery here a little bit. I've been charging it, but it's already halfway dead, it looks like. So I may try to speed things up just a little bit here, or I'll try to explain things that I might miss in the video if I end up having to resort to that, but hopefully everything works out fine. And I'm gonna eyeball the pepper because I can't measure 1/8 of a teaspoon with this. Go ahead and get this nice and mixed together. That smells really good. Man, I love dill. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dump all of this in here. I know I'm not following the recipe exactly, but I'm just a little bit worried about the method. Instead of just dumping this whole bowl in, I think I'm gonna do half of it into this mixture. And then if I need to top any more, once the tortillas are filled, then I can do that. I think I can add a little bit more. Luckily I made a different kind of pinwheel earlier, so I can kind of eyeball how much filling I think I need. This is for 6 tortillas, the other one was for 4. I'm gonna go ahead and add more. I feel like this will really also add to the flavor of the cream cheese sour cream mixture better than just topping it. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to lay out my tortillas real quick and get the rest of this assembled. So after dividing this into 6 portions, which I hope are about equal, I realized, geez, this still seems a little bit short on mixture. So I went ahead and added the rest of the veggies and mixed those in. I also gave it a taste test and ended up adding just a little bit more salt, garlic powder, and dill. It already had a pretty good flavor, but I just think that it would enhance it a little bit more. So I'm going to do what I did earlier, spread this as thinly as I can, making sure to get all the way down to the edges. If I can, I'm not going to film me spreading all of this out like I did for the first roll-up recipe because 1, I already showed you how to do that. I've already showed you how to roll it. And 2, I'm just really fighting against my battery here and I still want to make cupcakes tonight. So I'm going to take a break from the camera for a minute, get these rolled up, and then I'll show you how they look after I'm done. Lastly, this recipe says to let them chill for at least an hour, but the other recipe I made earlier said at least 2 hours. Luckily for me, I'm not going to be serving these until tomorrow when I get to work, so I should have plenty of time for these to set up, and hopefully they're a big hit. But I will be right back after these are all done, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. I just finished rolling the last tortilla, and I wanted to make a couple of notes for posterity and also tips for you if you're going to be making these at home. 1, even though I made a conscious effort to very finely chop the vegetables, there were still some in there, especially broccoli, that were still a little bit chunky and made it hard to spread. And so just if you've got a food processor or something, or just really take the time to make sure those get very finely chopped, I think that would help a lot more. I also don't know if maybe following the method that they recommended where you spread out the cream cheese and sour cream mixture and then sprinkle the veggies on top, I'm not sure if that would help or not. If I make these again, if they taste good, if I make these again, then I might try that method and see if that works better. I do have a kitchen table that I could have spread the tortillas out on. I just don't think I have enough space here on this part of my countertop, so that is just a lesson to be learned for next time. But I'm gonna go ahead and, since I've already got these wrapped, I'm gonna stick these in the fridge and we will taste test one before I go to work tomorrow. And if they are good, I'll bring them along with the other ones, which I'm sure the other ones I made earlier will be good. And then I'm gonna go charge my camera again, upload this few video clips, and get ready for the cupcakes.
So I did actually end up waiting until the next morning to do the cupcakes. It was just so late and I was tired and my feet were hurting, so I took the rest of the night off. It was probably about 10 p.m. by the time I was done. I waited until I got to work to cut the pinwheels just so that they would be easier to transport. I didn't want everything falling out in my car. And also I forgot to take pictures. So thank you, Sarah, for taking this lovely picture of the finished pinwheels. This is the garden veggie, the second recipe I made. By the time I was leaving work and she took the picture, there were no more sun-dried tomatoes. Those were a huge hit. So were these. These really is just a few of what was left over after the party. But I would definitely recommend both of these recipes if you like pinwheels. I'm a huge cream cheese fan, so I was really a huge fan of both of these recipes. I would definitely recommend them, and I will probably be making them again in the future. So I really hope you like this recipe. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up so I know to make more content like this. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified when that cupcake video comes out. It'll be up really soon, and it was really delicious too. It was a spiced cupcake, so thanks for sticking with me to the end. I hope to see you guys around next time. Bye guys!